Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks. Everyone wants more money, but most of us weren't taught how to create an abundant life. That's where the law of attraction, Manifesting Success Stories show comes in. If you are ready to have more money, create more freedom, and experience more fun, turn the volume up. It's time to learn how to create the prosperity and life you have been dreaming of. Here's your host, Cassie Parks.
Hello and welcome to this episode. I am your host, Cassie Parks, and I am back with Kimberly for another in her moment of growth. And now it is also her journey of becoming a coach. So welcome, Kimberly.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you.
You're welcome. I am so excited for you to be here. Let's see. We are recording this on Monday, August 9th, 2021. The Monday was super important, I guess. But so when this comes out, listeners have a reference. And we're going to talk a lot in the next 2 to 3 episodes. We're going to talk about, so if you're ever one of those people who was like, you think the lottery is the only way to get what you want, we're going to talk really specifically about that. Talk about communicating, staying in your own lane, getting comfortable having financial conversations. We're going to talk about some fun evidence, stepping into the beingness and how your future self leads the way, as well as really like some coaching about deciding you can do this. And we're going to talk a little bit about failure, what it means to like have that habit of failure, which I know we've talked a little bit in a previous episode with Kimberly, but we're going to expand on that. And so what happens when you don't want to be that anymore just because you want to succeed? So I'm very excited about what's coming up in the next episodes. And first, Kimberly, let's celebrate this. What is the manifested total that we're celebrating today?
Well, I have to add a penny to it because I found one when I was at the grocery store before the interview.
Yay!
It's $223,188.99.
Yay! That's amazing. How does that feel?
Yeah. So how long have I been in the Enchanted Circle?
About 18 months.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yes, it is.
I
might be 20 months, but yeah.
Yeah, still less than 2 years. And yeah, that's a big number. So
yes, it is.
Super fun.
Oh, it is so fun. All right. So let's talk about biggest ahas and growth since the last interview. Speaking of money, let's start with this lottery story. Because I love it. And it's so what so many people do. So if you're a listener and you've ever thought, okay, winning the lottery is it, I'm going to manifest winning the lottery, we're definitely talking to you today. So Kimberly, take us back to this moment in your life.
Okay. So I want to say that, oh my gosh, my boys are little and Dylan, I think, may have just been born. So we're talking like probably almost 15 and a half years ago.
Yeah.
Years ago. And so Joshua and I, we sat down and we made this whole vision board of all the things we wanted if we won the lottery. I mean, we put it down to like a barn and an airplane and a helicopter and cars and all the things. And then we picked our lottery numbers and then we played those numbers every single week. The only thing that we got off of that vision board of our lottery list was a black German Shepherd. Yeah. So we made the board, we played the numbers. That was it. We didn't do anything else. We just looked at the board and the only way we were ever going to get those things is if we won the lottery.
Okay. Yes. So let's break this down. It's like, okay, to get what we want, we have to win the lottery. Now, did you know about the law of attraction at that time?
Like, I did know about the law of attraction.
All right. So you were...
And it wasn't working. Yeah. So I just thought if we made the vision board and we played the numbers, then we had to, that was the only way those things were going to come to us was by winning the lottery.
Got it. So that was the only way it could happen. And you made the vision board. And then did you just hang it on a wall? Did you intentionally like stare at it a couple times a day? What was the...
In the very beginning, we looked at it. And then I'm not sure where it is now. It may have gotten thrown out. It may be in a box because we made that when we lived in Florida and now we're living in Ohio. Yeah.
Yeah. That's amazing.
So, yeah.
I love it. So we talked about this story the other day. You were like, yeah, I thought the only way I could have all these things was to win the lottery. So tell us about what you think now. Like if you could find that vision board and look at it and say like, yeah, I still want all that. What would you think about it?
Now I know how to do it. And if I win the lottery, great, but that's not the only way the universe can bring me what I want.
Yes, right. And so I know one thing that you said was you didn't see anything because you didn't get the lottery win.
Right.
You were probably oblivious to a lot of other things that you actually did get.
Yes, probably. Right? Because I was so specific. Mm-hmm. I thought with law of attraction, you had to have it down to the very last detail. It had to be like a red car with black rims or all the things. Right. And so I was looking for very specific things. And if something came to me that wasn't specifically how I had written it, then that wasn't it. Mm-hmm. Which is, looking back on it now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was totally doing this wrong.
Yes.
What could I have manifested back then that I didn't even realize that the universe was trying to give me, but I wasn't open to even see it?
Yes.
So yeah, that was a big aha, like huge.
Mm-hmm. And it's huge because so many people do that, right? Because first of all, they think the only way to get more money is to win the lottery. The only way you get to live my dreams.
Yes.
Win the lottery. And so, okay, all I know is to do a vision board. Right. Mm-hmm. And so what are 3 top things when you say, I know how to do it now? Tell us kind of what the 3 top things or how would you do it differently if you guys decided you wanted to win the lottery now?
This time around, I would be open to the item that I wanted, mm-hmm. but it could come in a different form. Like, let's say I want a hug bug. I mean, that's mm-hmm. not ever changed. That's still on my list.
Yes.
And I want it to be a convertible, but I would be open to any convertible hug bug showing up. Or mm-hmm. maybe better yet, it's a convertible and it's a totally different type of car, like a brand.
Yeah.
But it's a convertible and it would have everything that I want. And I would have that feeling that I want when I'm driving my convertible. It doesn't matter that if it's a hug bug or not.
Right. Because you're so can you describe that feeling to us?
So when I visualize myself driving around in my hug bug convertible, I can feel the wind in my hair. I just got goosebumps. Mm-hmm. The sun is shining on me. I am waving at everybody that I pass because I'm just so happy and just want to share that with everyone. That's the feeling that when I'm driving my convertible, that's what I tap into every time I drive it.
Right.
So again, it's not just the hug. It's a convertible, that feeling of the wind in my hair. I mean, I guess I could even get that by riding a horse.
Right? Look at how open it is, right? But we get stuck because what you really want is the feeling. You don't want a convertible hug bug sitting in your driveway, right? Mm-hmm. That's not really what you want. You want the experience of the wind and the sun, and it feels good and free and all of that. But what I'm hearing you say is you thought you had to get like all these details exactly how you would mm-hmm. get that feeling instead of being in that feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Any other ahas or things you want to share about the lottery story?
I actually had forgotten about the lottery story mm-hmm. until I heard you and Ginny's podcast. And she mentioned the lottery and I'm like, oh, that's so interesting. But yeah, so now I can have everything I want and not have to win the lottery.
Yes, I love it. And what I love is one of the things you're like, oh, this was on there in an airplane. And that is very much your future self. It's what's happening. Your husband's in pilot license. Like that's all happening.
Yes, it's all happening.
Yeah, that's amazing. How does it feel to be the person who says like, I know I can do it. I don't have to win the lottery. Like, yeah, if I win the lottery, great. But I don't have to win the lottery to get what I want.
I have goosebumps again. It feels powerful. I've been doing this for, let's say 20 months. And yeah, I can have anything I want.
Yeah.
And I know that now. Yeah. And I trust that. And the lottery again would be fun, but the universe can bring it to me in a completely fun new way. And this time I'm open to it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it just feels very powerful and just really good. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Very cool. So listeners, really listen into that. What is the difference between stepping into what you want and just identifying what you want? That's really what we're talking about here. And when you step in, you're creating it. When you identify it and you just put it on a vision board, and there's nothing wrong with a vision board, but I think what kind of happened to you is what happened, like, oh, I'm supposed to make this vision board and everything's going to magically manifest, right? We talk a lot. Go ahead.
Can I add in that I didn't know that back then it's the feeling that you get by having the things on the vision board. Mm-hmm. That's the piece I was missing. If I can tap into the feeling of what having that item, and we'll go back to the convertible. When I tap into the wind in my hair and I can see it now just by closing my eyes and talking to you, the wind in my hair, and it's that feeling. Mm-hmm. That's what I want. So because the last time that I did manifest 10K twice, mm-hmm. the second time through, I struggled coming up with material things that I wanted.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, yeah, that'd be cool, but it was more about the feelings. Mm-hmm. How am I going to feel when I get those things? That feels more powerful than the thing itself. That makes sense.
Yeah. So, and what I think what you're saying is, in the beginning, we think that we want the thing to get the feeling. So we think we have to get the thing. When we learn to go get the feeling, the things become a whole lot easier, but they're also less important. Not that they're nice, but we can actually think about, like, what do I really want? If someone hands me $10,000, what do I really want, instead of this list of things that I want because I think it's going to get me something else.
Yes.
Yeah. That's amazing. I love it. Any other thoughts on the lottery story?
I don't think so. It was a huge aha.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved hearing that story because I know a lot of listeners, a lot of our clients have that story. That's the only way it'll happen.
Yep.
Right? I love it. All right, let's switch gears for a second and talk about some other learning and growth that's happened, which is staying in your own lane and letting go. Tell us about that.
Yeah, that one's been a fun one. And I honestly mean fun, because staying in my own lane brings me more peace. Mm-hmm. I'll bring up 2 examples. There were things about my boys. My oldest is in Alaska. He got a new puppy and he had picked a name. And it was really silly why I got upset about it, but he changed the name. But he didn't really change it. He allowed someone else to pick the name. And there's some backstory there, but I won't go into all of that because it's not important. What I found was I gave myself permission to feel irritated about it. And I didn't have to share it with him that I was irritated. But once I felt that I was irritated and let it go and stayed in my own lane, he ended up coming back to what he wanted to name the dog.
Awesome. Yes.
So it was easy.
Yes.
And then I had this whole conversation with my middle son. Something else happened that same day with him and his girlfriend. And it upset me, but I didn't say anything. And just a couple of days ago, we had a conversation and I stayed in my own lane, and it made it easier to allow him to fix or handle his own stuff. Like, I don't have to fix it for him. Right. I'm here if he needs me. I can give him support and I can love him. I don't have to fix it. Mm-hmm. And that just takes so much off. I would say that I used to have the weight of the world on my shoulders. Mm-hmm. Because I had to fix everything and everybody, and I was the only one with the answers, or I would figure out the answer. Now that I don't have to do that, I can breathe.
Yes.
And it ends up working itself out in ways that, again, I couldn't have imagined. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, they're silly things. So I'm giving energy to something that really doesn't need my energy. Mm-hmm. I can take that energy and focus on things that I love or I'm passionate about. Mm-hmm. Which is generally right now, it's like I'll go draw or something or take a class for art.
Yeah.
And
That's
that feels
awesome.
much better to put my energy there than being irritated or upset about something that's going on with my children.
Right. And it creates that space. I think this is one of the things people get trapped in is I'm so busy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what you just said is because I'm not trying to fix everything for everyone else, I have time to do the things that I want to do.
Yes.
Yeah. Which is awesome.
And it gives you more freedom to do the things that you want to do.
Mm-hmm. And the freedom of time, but also the freedom of the energy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Because I wouldn't draw amazing things if I was irritated.
Right?
Let's be honest. I'm sure there are some artists who take those feelings and create beautiful pieces. But for me, if I'm irritated, my art doesn't go right.
Yes. Well, and I think that's important because sometimes we can get in, this situation derailed, I had to deal with this. When what you've learned is if I go feel that and let it go, like choose what is my lane and what's their lane, right? And what the name of their dog is their lane, right? You don't need to be in it, even when that represents other things that you wish they would do different or stepping into their own power, all those things. It's not yours. When you stay in your own lane, there's this energetic component. It doesn't have to take over your day or your life. You get to feel your feelings, realize what's yours to do, and then go do what you want and what feels good and let everything else work itself out.
Yeah. And that's something else too that I didn't recognize, but allowing them or holding space for them is way more powerful than fixing them.
Yes. Tell us more. I totally get it. But let's break this down for listeners, because when you came, and I think there's probably in your first season, there's an episode about, letting your children feel their feelings, but wanting to fix them was probably the thing, right? And why would you say you wanted to fix them?
Well, and it's not even so much fixing them. That's just how it sounds, I think, is that I still don't want my children to feel hurt or pain or all those things. As a parent, I want to protect them.
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not still doing those things. I'm just doing it in a more empowering, better energy way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So
it allows them to, by holding space for them, one, I'm giving it better energy. I'm not feeding into the energy of I have to fix this, which I think is a lower, if we want to talk about energy, but holding that space for them allows energy to be higher than what it is and gives them the opportunity to step into who they are. And I'm a really good example now.
Yeah. Tell us, for somebody who's like, that sounds good, but what does it mean to hold space? Describe it in your words.
To hold space is to really, it's like I'm driving down the highway. And if I start to veer over into the other lane because I want to fix my children, I autocorrect and stay in my own lane and allow them to be who they are going to be. And I just fill that space with love. And that feels so much better than stressing or worrying or all the other things that I've done as a mom.
Yes.
So I don't know if that explains it properly enough, or just, it's really like driving and staying in your own lane and holding space for them we don't figure things out, but to step into what they want.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're doing in essence is believing in their own power.
Yes.
Instead of making you more powerful than them, you are believing in their own power and their own ability to navigate the world which they've created, right?
Yes.
And find them and in some way and let them be hurt sometimes, even though doesn't feel good, right? But you know that because you've learned how to feel your feelings, that if you need to be hurt, you need to be hurt. Like sometimes it's part of what goes with the growth.
Yeah. And I've actually had those conversations with all of the guys in my life, including my husband and my 3 boys.
That's amazing.
And it's giving us all permission to feel how we want to feel. And that's totally new.
Yeah.
But it's so much better than how we were doing it.
Yes, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love it. As we wrap up, tell us how everything's just falling into place.
Oh my gosh. I talk about this for days. I think of something and it just literally shows up, whether it's in an email or someone will mention something, or I was sitting and drawing the other night and the volume was down. The Family Feud was on in the background. And I look up at just the right moment. And there's the Burger King king, and he has 2 money guns, and he's just shooting money everywhere. So it's like just the evidence. If I have a question or I need a solution for something that I've set down, it just shows up. It's just I think it and it shows up. It's just it's fun. It's amazing, and yeah, literally everything is falling into my lap.
Yay, that's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
And I so get it. And we are going to continue this really cool evidence conversation next time, as well as talk about communication. So thank you, Kimberly, for joining us in this moment of your growth. And thank you all for listening. Remember, Kimberly's now open her waiting list for clients. If you are loving Kimberly and her energy and you want her to be your guide through Manifest 10K and doing the future self work, you can go to CassieParks.com and get on her waiting list to have her as your coach and your guide. Make sure to come back next time. Yay, for sure. And check out what else is awesome.
Thank you for joining us on the Law of Attraction Manifesting Success Stories show. To learn how to attract more money into your life, go to your favorite book retailer and order Cassie's book, Manifest $10,000.